So we've put down this transformer station on this beach here and ran a underground power cable to the edge of the map, creating an external connection. And doing so, we're able to sell any electricity that we don't need in the city, especially now that we've got the incinerator plant along with the windmills. And if we ever get to the point where we're not producing enough energy in the city, we could also import electricity. What is this boat doing sliding sideways? Fortunately, on this map, the starting tiles are right up next to the edge of the overall build area. So if you do find yourself needing to import any services, you can kind of cheese it a little bit by just running a cable, or if you need water, you could run it out to the edge of the map here. Now, I don't think it's very believable to connect up any water or sewage to the edge of the map, but I'd like to imagine it's not completely implausible to have a high voltage cable running underneath the sea. It's quite common to have high bandwidth internet cables running across the ocean. They, in real life, often are placed on beaches like this where there's no place for the cables to be damaged. There's even a few in the UK where you can see the cable laying on the beach, and they will run out across the Atlantic or anywhere they need to go. So in the last episode, we placed down this incinerator plant, and it's doing the work. It's collecting all the garbage in the city now, and we have managed to catch up with all the backlog, and we're only using around about 20 out of 50 vehicles now, so we can probably turn the service budget down in our financial panel now. We're also producing around about 10 megawatts of electricity, and anything that is produced is currently being transferred through the highway electrical system because we don't own these tiles yet in between the incinerator plant and the city. So let's jump into our services and come down to garbage management. And I think we can probably turn this down to around about 80%. And that should reduce the overall efficiency to 86% for the incinerator plant, which I think is okay. It gives us some wiggle room for growth as the city starts to expand. And we're down here by our city water pump, the groundwater pump, and I'm just going to create a dedicated district that can wrap around the pump itself. And we can simply call that the groundwater pump GWP1, as we may want to put more of these down in the future and we can keep track of their location. And if we come back to our landfill, and we're currently emptying this, but I want to turn this back on and select the operating district. And I'm going to select the groundwater pump station and ensure that garbage is always being collected here and we don't face any water shortages in the future. I'm not entirely sure if this will work in this way. This is more an experiment and will act more as a transfer station. So the landfill should, in theory, only be collecting garbage from the pump, take it back here, and because we've also set it to empty, it should take any existing garbage that is stored to the incinerator plant. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this will work, and we can check it out at the end of the episode. We will probably see the city struggling with water again if it's not being collected. So I've placed down this elementary school in Riverhill here, and it should serve this community quite well. I've offset it from the main road coming through here and made a little clearing at the back so that, you know, the kids can play on some grass if they'd like. And we've got this little car park at the front so that, you know, the teachers and visitors can park up. We've got a little alleyway here, a little snicket for the kids to come through without having to walk all the way around. And yeah, we now have this area pretty well served for elementary services. We still need to catch up with the educational system this episode. And to do that, I think we're probably going to have to expand on mostly the elementary school and the high school levels, since most of our jobs in the city rely on that level of education. So when you finish elementary school, you're classed as poorly educated. When you finish high school, you're classed as educated. That would cover most of our employment needs, and we will probably need to perhaps look at putting a college down in the future. However, I think we're mostly going to focus on fulfilling our elementary and high school demand. So if we look at our city from above, there's a few areas we could look at building a school campus. We already have the existing elementary school, the only one that we've got in the city, down on Garnet Lane, and it runs alongside one of the main city entrances. And opposite it we have an open field, and I think this is prime for development. We can probably fit in both another elementary school and a high school here. And then on the other side of the river we've got the Kaplan neighborhood. And I think this field up in the north right corner would be a prime spot to put it, especially if we can imagine the city growing further out. It will act as a central point of interest and allow the children and the teenagers to get to school easier. And similar down in Reuben, once this area starts to become more developed and built out, and I think it's really important to consider the location of the schools, because schools do offer a well-being boost. If they can be placed centrally in residential areas, then it means more people should be able to reap in the benefits of the bonuses that they provide. Check out this residential unit next to the elementary school. We can see that they are getting a +8 bonus for the walking distance to elementary school. So the closer a property is to a school, the higher that number is. And I can't imagine it's going to get any higher than 8 when you're situated right next door. And this bonus can be amplified, building some of the upgrades too, such as the playground, where you can get a +1 well-being within 300 meters. Every now and then we're getting a couple of residential buildings complaining about pollution, and I don't blame them since they have a giant factory in their backyard. And to resolve that, I've simply just been going through and replacing these with a little bit of commercial or a little bit of office, and we'll just give them enough tiles to be able to build a decent sized property, and they should stop their complaining. These guys are not doing too bad. I think they still complain about ground pollution. They've got a little bit of polluted water, high noise pollution, high ground pollution, but the benefits of living here still outweigh the negatives, so I'm happy to leave them here if they're happy to live there. So I'd like to start with the existing elementary school. We've already added the extension wing, which adds an additional 500 student capacity, but I think we can make use of the field at the back here by building one of the new small elementary schools, and I think this should fit quite nicely here if we use the car park and we align that up nicely. Connect this up to our power and water grid, so I think we could use this pedestrian street here, just place that at the front. And it looks like we do need a pedestrian access on this side, so I'm simply going to move the asset slightly further back, and we could also align the entrance up with the road we've just built. Okay, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. We have the extension wing, and we also have the gymnasium. Let's take a look where we can put this extension wing, and I think we have a really good spot at the side here, which we could align it up to. We might lose a few trees, but that's okay. Place that there, and I think I do want to include the gymnasium, so let's go to our development tree and let's unlock the sports facilities. And I'm not sure if we need the large sports facilities yet, so let's just double check that. And it looks like that's enough to unlock the gymnasium, which is perfect. Let's just rotate this around and see where this can fit in nicely. Now, I remember seeing on City Planner Plays video that there is a hedge that runs along the left side of the asset, which kind of makes the asset unusable at certain angles. But I think we can probably use that to our advantage. I think it might sit really nicely here along the edge of this tree row. And we could have that line up with the existing school assets and place that there. And I think that looks quite nice like this. And they even have a few areas to play outside, so they're not losing all their green space with a basketball court and some sports facilities inside here too. And back to the upgrades, and I think we could probably put down another extension wing. I don't want to overcrowd the asset, so I'm just looking to see where we could align this up. I'm looking at the top of the building here, the main building. We could slide this across, and then if we can get the left side of the asset to align with the gymnasium, I think that should look quite nice, and then we can add some details to bring it together. Alright, the school campus has been finished, and look how popular it is. We've got so many people here, it's incredible. I've just jumped into first person mode just to have a look around to see what it's like from the ground point of view. We've got this little retail shop. Yeah, look at this playground, look how busy it is. I mean, we don't have any parks in the city so far. We've got one up in River Hill that we built in the last episode, but yeah, I think the ones that I've put in this campus are probably the only ones that we've got in the main part of the city. And we've got this lovely little grassed area as you walk in. I really love this mod. And then we've got this nice little open plaza here. You can walk in, one of the extensions to the school. It's quite good. I just can't believe how many people are here and using it. I do find these grass surfaces a little bit strange because they can sometimes be quite reflective. But perhaps this, we can imagine this as AstroTurf or something, I don't know. It probably gets a lot of wear because of the kids playing here. I put down this little pack that came with the Detailers patch update, and it looks like we've got a few homeless people camping here, but I think it fits quite nicely between these buildings. I think it's quite nice to imagine the classrooms overlooking a garden rather than a car park. I did squeeze in a few car parking assets at the back here with the sun cover, you know, just to prevent the cars overheating. We still have the existing car park that we had in this school area down here, and you can see there's so many people using it. It's so nice, so cool to see. And then we've got this motorcycle parking area that's filled with vehicles, and I placed this tree down, and for some reason the roof on this side of the asset just evaporated. But anyway, let's have an overview of the campus itself. I think it's come together quite nicely. I liked that you've got two distinct styles next to each other. You can imagine this main older building was constructed first, followed by the extension campus here. And I think this is a pretty good use of land. I know that we had this nice open field here before, but we've got the indoor gymnasium now, and I'm sure they have some high-tech equipment. And we are in a hot climate, and I can see they've got some AC units at the top, so that should keep them cool. And it just integrates into the overall city really well. This is a pretty cool angle here with the harbour in the distance, and yeah, you can just see the amount of people using it. It's crazy. Got all these people walking through. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that for sure. Alright, next up I'd like to build the high school, and we're looking at this plot of land just across the road from the new elementary school complex that we've just built. And when we look at this area a little bit closer, you can see we've got this main road that takes all the people in and out of the city. So we'll need to make sure that we keep some space at the side of this road in case we want to upgrade it in the future. The main road that runs through the city is Bridge Road here. So we're not too far off this main thoroughfare, so I think we can make use of this space for the new high school. It's close to two major routes through the city, so in the next episode, or maybe the one after, when we start to implement some public transport, this should be in a good spot to take advantage of that. So to start, I'm going to remove this road here, and I'm going to grab the alley road, and I want to branch off this one down here and just create a frontage road for the high school. I think 4 tiles should be good. Actually no, let's go for 5 tiles. Let's give ourselves some breathing room. And I'm just going to connect this up down to this farm road. And if we take a look at our high school buildings, we've got a couple of options. Well, 3 options. We have the small high school with a capacity of 400. The regular high school that came with the base game with a capacity of 800, and then we have the urban high school that has the same capacity, 800. We're currently looking at around about 1,800 people being eligible for high schools at the moment, so whatever we put down isn't going to fulfill the demand. And I think I might want to combine a couple of these options together. To start with, I'm going to go with the regular high school, the one that came with the base game back in October. And I think this one has really nice gardens surrounding it. We've got the school library. I don't think we need that at the moment. And we have the extension wing, an additional student capacity of 400. So we'll put that on there. I'd like to grab the alley road again, and this road that we removed earlier, I think we could actually put this one back in. So let's pull that out to the edge of that building lot there, and then I want to follow the side of the high school building using our curved road tool, bring that into the road we've just built. If we come over to this side of the building, I've pulled this road round to the back of the asset, and I think I would like to add in the small high school too. And I think the main reason for that would be that we could use the sports facility that comes with this, as the one that comes with the OG high school is a little bit too large for our city at the moment, and the one that comes with this smaller high school is a slightly more appropriate size. So we haven't unlocked the high school sports pack yet, and that's because we need to unlock the larger sports packs in our development tree, so we'll do that. And I'd like this asset to run alongside the high school here, so we might need to bring back this field a little bit. In fact, I'm going to bring the alley road down here. Alright, so this is the main layout of the new high school. I've placed the field so that we've got the seating closest to the campus so that people don't have to walk all the way around. And we've got the smaller high school at the back here. That gives us a few more spots for students, around about 400. And we can also add on the extension wing, and I'll see if we can fit that in somewhere else. So I'm just going to add a few more paths and a few trees and finish this off. Alright, so I think the high schools come together really nicely. We got this main high school here, which is the one that came with the base game back in October, and then we've added on this small extension on the back that adds an extra 400 students. There's 800 in the main building, plus an extra 400 in the extension, so that's 1200. We got 400 in here, and I think, is there another 400 in this one? No, it's only 100 extra. So we have a look at our education info view. We had eligibility for around about 1600 at the start of the episode, if I remember correctly, or 1800. I'm not sure why this has come down to 1100. Perhaps they only needed to go to high school for a few weeks to finish off their education, but you can see now we've got a capacity of 1700. So this puts us in a really good spot for the future growth of the city, and we probably don't need to put another high school down now for a while. I really like this smaller sports complex that comes with the smaller high school. I think it just fits in really nicely without all the extra buildings around it, especially in this tropical climate. And just down here you just notice there's these small details like the outdoor gym, and if we come along here we've got this little footpath that is a part of the asset which I've extended onto a regular pedestrian pathway, and we've got this beautiful manicured lawn that sits in the front of the building, and this gives us some leeway, especially if we plan on upgrading this road in the future, the main road that comes into the city. I didn't want to build anything too close which would make it really awkward to change this around in the future. Additionally, when you look at the elementary school that we put together, the only thing that we've really got along this main road here is some car parking units, and they could easily go or be moved if needed. And we've got these little roundabouts that allow access to the car parks. I didn't want to have vehicles unloading on what is already quite a busy road. So we've got a couple of exits for vehicles, one that joins into this neighborhood here, and then the other one swings around, connects up with the smaller high school assets, and there's a couple of exits, one that takes you into the South Bay farming area. I've started putting in these 2-unit wide roads. Originally I put down the alley roads all across the city, and that was mostly to reduce the cost of the road maintenance. However, now that we're in a pretty good place with our budget, I do want to start to replace and use mostly the 2-way streets. What I've done down here, because I thought maybe we'd have some children crossing here, we've removed the parking, we put the grass verge instead so that there's plenty of visibility, and when you do that as well, it shortens the distance between the two pathways when people need to cross over. Yeah, and there's this lovely little roundabout entrance here as you come into the school. This vista to the back of the high school with the windmills on the hill. It's lovely. So let's take a quick look at our district overview of Reuben. We currently have 10,000 people living here, of which around about 2,200 are children and 310 are teenagers. So we have capacity now for elementary students in this area. We're currently supplying 2,100 places for elementary students in this area. So now we need to have a look at the Kaplan area, where we currently don't have any elementary schools. They have around about 10,000 residents too, but only around about 1,700 students needing an elementary school. So to do that, I think we're probably going to do something similar to what we did in Reuben, where we used a combination of the elementary school and the small elementary school. So this farm is currently level 3 out of 5, so I don't want to completely destroy it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the area tool, and I'm just going to reduce the size of the farm for now. It's a little bit weird, but sometimes you find that between the farmland and the urban areas, where the urban sprawl is slowly taking over the farms and they get cut up into smaller and smaller pieces until they're completely consumed. Alright, so if we just zoom out here, we've got 2nd Street here, which is acting as one of our collector roads through the area. And we have Harbour Street is the one that takes you up to the high-speed rural highway that goes around the city. And I think what we can do, again, similar to what we did with the high school, is to just bump the elementary school back a little bit so that we've got space to upgrade this in the future if we need to, and we're not having to move around any large assets. So I'm going to put this on the end of a roundabout, and I'm going to pull this out from this street here, and we'll just go out at a 90. So let's grab the roundabout with a tree. That's nice, I think. And that gives us a smaller zoning grid. And let's grab the main elementary school. And what we can do is we can align this up to give us a nice view of the entrance as you're coming in. And I think we might have to do this freehand. Now let's grab the alley road, and I want to pull this to the right. And we do have the medical clinic there, so let's run alongside the back of that. Let's just do this along here, and you can see that if we pull this right into the roundabout, we're creating a collision, so we do need to bring this further away. So we'll just go up to here. Alright, let's just pull this out a couple of tiles. Using our complex curve tool, we can stick this in here. Lovely. And it's a little bit wonky, but that's the kind of thing I like to see in the city. I don't want it to all be perfect and pristine. So yeah, we've opened up a little bit of land on this side. So I think what we can do is we can add a car park and one of the smaller elementary schools. And I think we could run a car park behind some of these homes here. And then we can grab the long car park, and then we can just pop that in there. There we go, that's quite nice. And we still have a little bit of room to place down that small elementary school. Now you can see we're not able to afford quite a few of these now because we've been spending quite a lot of money this episode. We've dropped down to around about 112,000, but you can see we've got a positive cash flow of 20,000 an hour. So I'm not too worried about the money going down. We've got pretty good surplus of money coming in. Okay, so we've got the main building down, which gives us a student capacity of 1,500, along with the small elementary school that gives us capacity for 600. It doesn't look like we're pulling in any students to that one yet. I wonder whether we've actually overfulfilled. Yeah, so we've overfulfilled our eligibility. We only had around about 4,000 needing to go to school, and we now have a capacity of 4,600. Given that the city is growing, and I imagine this part of the neighborhood, which is going to probably become the center of our city, along with Reuben, will become more densified, and we're definitely going to need the spare school places in the future, so we will leave that for now. And I think for the back here, I don't want to detail too much. I think we could probably add on the playground behind the small elementary school. You can see it's flush. I love it when these things just magically align up without much effort. And then for the rest of this area, I think I'm just going to pull the farm field back up, and then they could have a little bit of a grass area at the back here. Alright, let's take a closer look at this new elementary school. So we've got this lovely little driveway in. I've removed the parking on the roads as you come in, just so that it's a little bit more attractive. And you can see we've got loads of people turning up to school. We've got a car park at the front here, which is hidden behind some of these row homes. And we have another one here, which is just sneaked in between the school and some of these homes here. And I even managed to put another one of these little electrical car parks in, the electrical vehicles car park, which it reminds me of a bicycle shed. We only have one road coming in it. It is a little bit of a cul-de-sac. I've pulled up a lot of the surfaces that were included in the asset up to the road, added a few bushes and trees just to kind of piece it all together. And I think it looks really nice. We've got this little medical clinic at the front here. And I even managed to sneak in this little footpath at the back here. Once we start to develop some of these homes along here and perhaps the farm field, we can add a little bit more access in those areas. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. And I think it will serve this community quite well. So in this episode, we've managed to put down a few schools, from the small one in Riverhill, the medium-sized one in Caplin, and then the super campus down in Reuben, where we've got a combination of 2 elementary schools here. And if we take a look at our educational info view, we're now sitting in the green for both elementary and high schools. So we're in a really good spot. The only place that we're really lacking now is the college and university. I think the student capacity for colleges is 1,000, yeah, so we're about the right place to put that down soon. However, I think in the next episode, I really like to focus on bringing some public transport into here, especially as those that live up in Riverhill don't really have an easy way to get to high school. There's a few footpaths through here, but it is mostly rural highway roads with no pedestrian access. So I'd like to at least have a bus running through here just to help people get about. And then just overall, the city is becoming more and more dense. If we have a look at our population overview, you can see we've got 2 major cores developing here, one in Caplin, one in Reuben. And I'd like to see if there's a way of efficiently moving people over to each side. But I'd also like to incorporate the ferry into some sort of intercity transport service. Alright, I think we'll call it a wrap for today's episode. I really appreciate everybody's comments and keep them coming. I'm really enjoying everyone's feedback. Oh, and before we go, let's just double check to see if our groundwater pump is struggling with garbage collection. So nope, it's looking good. The only negative I can see now is mail handling, so we'll probably need to take another look at our postal services. Alright then, we'll see you next one. Bye.